goes a Rosarena. She's gone! Here comes the 3-2. He got him!
Again, I'm not even a big Jays fan. I'm not even a big baseball fan, and it's sending somewhat chills, I guess, what happened last night. Game 7, Jays advancing to the World Series. Welcome to the SportsCage on this Tuesday for Saskatchewan Lottery's main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in Saskatchewan. We're going to be with you for 3 hours. It is a chilly Tuesday out there in and around these parts, although the Harbor Golf Course in Elbow is still open. If you're looking to swing the wrenches, I found that out. We want to hear from you throughout the show. The Prairieland text line is always open. Prairieland Rental, 600 Albert Street, where you get to deal with the owner, and if it's Husqvarna snow thrower that's going to be in your wish list coming up here, they have them rolling in now, or anything you need rental for that fall or winter project. Guests are joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It was a great night for Western Pizza last night. Do it again tonight. All the Greek food you love, like souvlaki, ribs, salad, and they make the perfect wheel there. And Saskatchewan Lotteries is our sponsor today. Our sprinkle of the day is coming up for Sports Select. Didn't really work out for me yesterday. So we can talk about that, and we can look at what we got today from Sports Select coming up. We got winning to do, Riders tickets to give away, and Regina Pats tickets. As for the guests go, we are going to hear from the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they're back on the practice field today. We're going to hear from Arash Madani. Oh yeah, we are going to talk to Arash Madani about yesterday. Keith Willoughby is joining us as well. Scott MacAulay, head coach of the Regina Thunder. We're also going to go out to Red Deer and talk to Mark Peterson, head coach of Team Saskatchewan at the WHL Cup. Glen Suitor's in hour 3. And don't forget, it's Tuesday. So we have Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia coming up in hour 3. We are playing for $200 at Pump Jacks Cathedral today. You're going to have to call in. We always welcome your calls too. 936-6262. Toll-free line 1-866-767-0620. Colson's the operator over there. He picks up the tab if you want to call in and talk about anything. Joining me today for at least an hour and a half, the professor, Don Hewitt. Have you come down from the Game 7 excitement last night, Don?
Maybe just a tad. Colson, did you get that shot of Brendan Little, the Blue Jays relief pitcher? Barney is playing on the Toronto Blue Jays for those of you who are watching this show.
That's what I look like?
That's you.
I look slender.
Except, well, you're a slender individual. Except you've got a mustache. You put on a mustache during this game. He's commuting. If you're watching this, obviously, if you're on radio, you don't see it. But just Google Brendan Little, the Blue Jays relief pitcher, and tell me if you think he looks like Barney. He's a dead ringer. That is unbelievable.
Maybe
Barney.
That's my Halloween costume here. We're going to be doing the show on the 31st, so maybe I can borrow a Blue Jays jersey or something.
You were controversial with your, poorly pitched how poorly you pitched in Seattle.
Yeah, well, yeah. I can grow a mustache in literally 4 days, so that won't be difficult to do. What an absolute ride, though. And again, I don't know how hardcore of a Blue Jay fan that you are, and for me, it's more I'm happy for the Blue Jay fans. I'm happy for my mom. I'm happy for my sisters that are hardcore fans. Colin Lovequist down the hall. I shouted today. I almost wanted to hug him. Yeah, I'm so
my hair's looking good.
Happy for the Blue Jay fans. I said this last week. The whole Canada thing, for me, doesn't play. It doesn't. Anytime I've ever been to Ontario, they want nothing to do with me from Saskatchewan, nor do they care. So it's not the Canada thing for me. I'm just happy for the Blue Jay fans that I know that are going back to the World Series.
If you take a look at the crowd shots last night in the Game 7, and first of all, the joy that you saw and the concern, the sadness that you saw on the faces, the guys without the shirts on, everybody was so emotional in that ballpark. And I'm going to tell you, they have the best fan base in Major League Baseball in terms of being involved with their baseball team. You don't see what you saw in those stands in any other Major League Baseball park, I would argue. Mm-hmm. We'll see what Arash says. He's been to a lot more Blue Jay games than I have. But I mean, it's an incredible fan base. And, of course, they led Major League Baseball in comebacks this season. They are being completely written off by the sports books and the gambling sites there. In fact, all the people that had put bets down in the States for LA to win the World Series were happy because the gambling sites had Seattle having a better chance to beat the Dodgers than the Blue Jays. Everybody's writing them off, and it's the Cinderella story. The little guy, the big spenders, no. They're not big spenders at all compared to the Dodgers. We can talk to maybe Arash about the goofy... I think the system, player remuneration system in Major League Baseball that I think just stinks. Anyway, sorry, Barney, I'm on a rant. Go ahead.
No, go. Rant away. That's why we have you here. I love it.
It's captivating the country, most people, and I'm on board, but I'm a bandwagon jumper, Barney.
Are you?
Admit that. Yeah, I don't watch them a lot in the regular season.
That's okay.
But I'll jump on their bandwagon with both feet.
That's where I kind of am right now. I find like now if someone asks me, do you want the Dodgers to win or the Blue Jays? I'm like, well, the Blue Jays, because although I do have friends, that are hardcore Dodger fans or that are from around the area, no, I'll root for the Blue Jays all day long here. So I looked at Sports Select and the futures at sportsselect.com, where you can actually play a future bet at Sports Select. Okay. As we're educating people as we go along here. They're now our official betting partner. The Blue Jays are paying $255 to win the World Series, where the Dodgers are definitely the favorite at $140.
Right. And one's a plus and one's a minus.
So I don't mind a sprinkling of a little bit for the Blue Jays, and I'm trying to remember, and I can, and it's one of those things I wish I would have wrote down, because the Blue Jays were a little bit of a dog going into the series against Seattle, and everyone talked about Seattle's pitching. Again, I'm not going to sit here, because I know a lot of you out there roll your eyes enough at me. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I knew about the pitching. I knew what was going to go on. I had no idea. What I did know was when the Blue Jays bats got hot, whenever you watch down the stretch here, then I'm like, yeah, these guys can hit the ball in bunches. Now,
and that's without Bo Bichette, who's now going to be playing in the World Series.
Exactly. And you're watching last night, and there's a time. You got the home run. I don't think we're ever going to get sick of playing this, Colson. There's a time, and it doesn't look good as we sit with one out in the seventh inning. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, how are they going to manufacture 2 runs here with not a lot of success so far in the game?
I agree.
And then when Arash comes on at 4, we will talk to him. Hey, he's in the hot take business sometimes. He was wrong. Definitely wrong. I got a number of texts. We got texts. Our social media was a-buzzing about it. But the thing is that the Springer at bat, I think, I don't know if it was the one right before the home run or the first one of it wasn't the first one of the game. I think it was the second one where he bit on the sweeper to the outside, and he didn't look comfortable to my eyeballs. Again, never played in the majors, never hit a sweeper coming at you when you just had a fastball coming at you at 97. So I was like, maybe he doesn't look all that good. And then again, not the baseball purist, I started going through his history and how much of a gamer he is and how many World Series he's been to. And he's part of that whole Houston fiasco, banging garbage cans and all that, whatever happened there. I actually think it's kind of clever. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's been around.
And he had huge hits for Houston, just like he did last night. I mean, that's why they signed him to begin with, because he was such a clutch player. And when he hit that home run, he wasn't feeling any pain in his knee. He couldn't feel it at all. He was so concentrating on that baseball and to whack it out of there. There was no pain involved because, probably feeling it this morning. But he'll be better by Friday for sure with that knee, because it's really only just a bone bruise on his kneecap.
A kneecap. I cracked my kneecap once. It hurt bad. Can come. But he didn't even crack it. No.
So yours would have been worse.
It sounded like he did though. When it hit there that day, I was like, "Ooh, that poor Springer." Okay. Do you? And this isn't. It isn't the same. But I remember, and what are we talking here? 1988, 89-ish. Colson, can you look up Kirk Gibson's home run in the World Series? And I'm not a Blue Jay fan, or I'm not a baseball fan really, but I'm watching it with my dad. I remember I got to be 10, 11 years old, collecting baseball cards. For some reason, I liked Oral Hershiser. I liked the number 55. Mm-hmm. And I remember, mind you, Don, we go back to those times in the 80s, there wasn't that many channels. So if you had a chance to watch a World Series game, you're probably watching that because besides that, you got a French channel and nothing. I don't speak French. And then who knows what you had on the other channels. Nothing wrong with the Beachcombers. If you went to CBC, don't get me wrong. Love Nick and Jesse.
Nick was good.
Yeah. Give Molly's reach makes a guy want a Denver sandwich. Anywho, they
88, Kirk Gibson,
and then Gibson, and that was a pitch hit, and I forget what was wrong with his actual body. Does it say his knee, leg?
It says injuries to both legs.
Gout.
I'll keep researching, but it says injuries to both legs.
And then
memorable moment.
So there's people out there listening that would remember it, and then he gets thrust in the DH role, and they made such a kind of big deal about it. It's like, Tom, what's his name? The manager of the Dodgers,
Tommy Lasorda.
I was going to say La Russa. Lasorda. And it was a risky play, and he gets up and digs that one out of the dirt almost and jacks it. And then he's going around the bases, pumping his arm. Not the same, not a DH, all that, but Springer is hurt. And in that situation, to hit that home run, and the one thing right away and I think it was on the first replay, that I'm just sitting there taking in the theater as a sports fan. And my wife is watching baseball. She absolutely despises the game. My kids are into this. So I got a funny story about my son, by the way, when it comes to it. And look at how excited he is. And then when they showed the dugout, it was like watching kids play the game. I remember when Regina upset BC or Quebec here, and they went to the Little League World Series a few years ago, and my son had buddies on that team. The excitement and all that's what it reminded me of, how excited these professional baseball players were, and it just kind of captured it all in one moment.
And the thing about 32 years ago was the last time they were in the World Series. It has even more meaning, and Joe Carter watching them and supporting George when he hit that home run, and messages for George, of course, Joe Carter hitting that big home run to win the series in '93. So, I mean, it's
I remember
it's
where
a long
I was.
time coming. I was young when they won the World Series in '93, if you can believe it. That's how long ago it was. But
I wasn't here. My parents were married, but I wasn't here.
You weren't around much either, were you, Barney?
No, I was 14. 13, 14 years old. I was at the Blue Line Arena, which is now the Egger Twin in Saskatoon. And I was
watching it.
I was watching it upstairs in the bar because my brother-in-laws were playing rec hockey, and their game ended, so they were upstairs guzzling. I'm with them. They're my ride, and we watched it on a little tube TV. Tube TV in the corner. Joe Carter, touch them all, Joe.
He had a torn left hamstring and a torn right MCL.
Kirk Gibson.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And he dug it out.
Great info there, Colson. That is absolutely insane.
So
But anyway, we don't want any of that Dodger business now.
No.
By the way, it's
No.
the magic is with the Blue Jays, and the chemistry is with the Blue Jays, and all the dollars and dollar bills are with the Dodgers. But by the way, the Dodgers go into this season as the largest title favorites in 20 years.
Really?
Like the Blue Jays are like the little guy from Canada, and Fox Sports is not happy because while everybody in Canada is going to watch, they'll have a smaller audience likely in the United States, which makes you feel good.
Their ratings will
Somehow.
take a bit of a hit for sure. This is I said I had a story about my son. God bless him. Loves sports. You'd play anything as long as it's competitive, right? He goes up, and I think it was the Mariners had a pitch hitter late, and Kyle Raleigh is coming up, and I'm like, well, you don't want to get to that guy.
No.
Because you got to avoid that guy. He's good. He's batting if this guy gets on. And he goes, well, why don't they pitch hit him? So I'm like, that's not how it works. He thought you could just move your better hitter into wherever and all that. I'm like, yeah, not how the rules work. But I think it's captivating people that aren't for sure. It's like when the Raptors went on the run, and they weren't even basketball fans, and then people were just on board. And obviously, Toronto has gone bonkers. I want to know, Colson. Along with, I think the aftermarket prices on tickets, they're starting above $1,000. And
easily.
We could look at that because I was talking to Aaron, who's on the Wolf here, and Colin. Aaron's a big Dodgers fan. Colin's a big Blue Jay fan. So they're talking about tickets and all that. And I'm like, if it's not crazy, go. I'm an experienced guy, though. My motto is, if in a year from now, if you're not going to say, that devastated me, like I am in big trouble, then do it. Because you can always figure out a creative way to get back at her. And this is an experience. You probably won't have it again.
Be interesting. We'll talk to Keith Willoughby about that. Our analytics CFL guru who was at the last two games. He was there along the first baseline yesterday. He's got an interesting story about that as well as his analytics. He's got to go back because he showed up when they won game 6 and 7. So Willoughby, who's going to be on shortly, he's got to get down to Toronto on Friday now. He has to. Oh, by the way, I got a really interesting text from Jack Newman. He said Don Mattingly, the bench coach for the Blue Jays, spent, and a great baseball player in his own right, spent 2 summers here in Regina. Because his brother, as a kid, on purpose, because his older brother, Randy, was a backup quarterback for the Rough Riders.
Really?
Don Mattingly.
He's been in the major league since...
There he is.
He's been in the major league since 1982, 14 as a player, 12 as a manager, 17 as a coach.
Great graphic.
Now, after over 40 years in Major League Baseball, he's headed to the World Series
and
for the first time.
And he hung around in Regina for 2 summers, according to Jack, and Jack's always right.
Let's go. Where's Jess Binns? They got any video of that? Let's get it out there. Okay, Keith Willoughby's coming up in a bit. He was at the 2 games. We're going to talk to him. We'll take a break. We come back. We're going to talk Riders. We're going to hear from Trevor Harris. We're going to hear from Coach Mace. It's the Sports Cage. If you're watching along, you see the professor and I and Colson. We are on our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. If nothing else, you can catch us on the streams and, of course, 620 CKRM. Back in the saddle here on this Tuesday. The professor, Don Hewitt's with me. We're for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Thanks to everyone who's messaging in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. We're going to get to a bunch of those in a moment. You got fans, Don, eh? When you come on, you got fans on here. And then also, we're going to get to some on the YouTube chat as well. Prairie Land Rental, 600 Albert Street.
Well, I got fans because I exposed you as Brendan Little.
Yeah.
Which is...
I need to look up more pictures of Brendan Little. Get my wife to look at some. Hey, honey, I got to grow a mustache, by the way. I'm like, okay, you are out of here. Okay, Rider stuff. First off, Winnipeg game. Your thoughts on that? I thought it was an ugly football game to watch.
I am of the opinion that the coaching staff couldn't have done that better.
Okay.
I totally agreed with how they handle their personnel, with the big picture still a few weeks away with the Western Final. They did give it great effort, but we looked at a lot, or they looked, I mean, and we as fans looked at a lot of different players that we hadn't seen in different roles that I found very encouraging. And yeah, I mean, obviously Trevor Harris is apparently, up to ask Dave for sure, but apparently Trevor Harris was taking quite a few snaps at practice today. He's going to be playing, but I think it was good they looked at Cohen in the fourth quarter. And they've got an interesting situation, I think, Barney, because Brooks Jr. is playing sensationally at will linebacker. Rivas, who apparently took some snaps at corner today, but I don't think that matters. Rivas at safety. I've never seen a guy support the run from the safety position better than what Rivas was doing. They might have an amazing combo of those two players. I mean, I think Brooks Jr. had the second most tackles in the game.
I just can't get over. And you said you like the move. And maybe Coach Mace will answer it this winter or whatever. The moving Jake Mayer and putting in Cone. Mm-hmm. In that situation of the game, I am all for giving him some reps and giving him some time. But then why not this week? And it's kind of a nothing game, but you still don't mind beating Winnipeg, especially in Winnipeg, and then it affects them and what they have to do.
Helped Winnipeg. They can still play in the West in the playoffs.
It was such an odd time to put in a guy cold when Mayer was, I guess, a little bit finding a groove.
Well, I think if you look ahead to this week, you have to, of course, play Harris because of rust, and you have to give Mayer some more snaps for experience in case he has to play in the Western Final. There's no room for Cone on Saturday night here at Mosaic. There's really no room for him. They had to do it, I think, because of the fact they had to play Trevor Harris on Saturday.
Maybe I'm the only guy.
I don't think so.
But
I'm
saying, I said it yesterday, Harris, you can come to the stadium, but you're taking advantage of some of the sweet experience somewhere warm up top. I don't like playing. Okay, so Coach Mace today, he did answer the question if there was a plan to play more starters this week.
Yeah, definitely. We got a plan in place, and similar to last week, we identified what we want to do, and we stuck to it, man. So we got a different one set in place this week, and we'll stick to that.
He doesn't really tell us anything. He kind of just
That's
says
his job.
Yeah, he does. He's good. Hey, I want to play poker with these guys. He does. He does say that there is a plan. What that plan is, who knows? Okay, so then the other clip here, he talks about what is the importance of getting the number ones some reps.
Yeah, no, it's just being able to keep the guys around the game, and you can't mimic live reps, you know what I mean? So I think it's crucial, for our guys to be able to go out there and do that. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you're putting the vision on for the future, but also trying to maintain the balance of having the right guys on the roster to still go win a game.
What's going to be interesting, Barney, is if Calgary and Winnipeg lose, I believe BC's playing for nothing. On Saturday, if Calgary and Winnipeg lose, I think BC plays for nothing.
Chart, Colson, to throw up. I think if Calgary loses, then BC can kind of rest. Calgary wins in Edmonton, then BC's got to buckle up those chin straps.
That's right. Yep.
And play to win. So I like that. We're going to see BC's probably best. We might get a few wrinkles, maybe. But there's going to be live football. Those guys are going to have to win. They're going to have to take some hits. They're going to have to, give some hits. The more of that in the next few weeks for BC, Calgary, Winnipeg. I'm writing off Winnipeg. Sorry, Winnipeg fans.
What's really weird, though, is that Winnipeg won the season series with BC. That's so bizarre. That's what makes the whole weekend so interesting, is that they can actually move up and play in the West yet.
Winnipeg.
Yes.
Yeah, because where is it, Coulson, here? That is the
top
weird
right one on the screen.
Top right. So we got a BC loss, a Calgary win, and a Winnipeg win. Calgary finishes second. They will host Winnipeg.
That is the one situation that Winnipeg can finish in the West now. Every other situation, Winnipeg crosses over.
Keep this up here. If you're watching the stream, and if you're not watching the stream, apologize. You go on sportscage.com. It's free. You can watch
all
on
three
YouTube.
could be 10-8, I believe.
Yeah.
And the Stamps will go to second, BC third.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that top right
Winnipeg
one.
fourth.
I want that top right one to happen. BC lost, Calgary win, Winnipeg win. And then Calgary hosts. They'll host Winnipeg, which it's like, what?
But isn't that it's just an insane last weekend for those three Western teams. It's just they can be going almost anywhere.
And to Don's point, if Calgary loses instead of winning, they all finish 10-8, which Winnipeg doesn't want because then it's a 3-way tie and they get booted back to the East.
That's right.
So Winnipeg wants Calgary to win, but then they still have to take care of business. Very far-fetched hopes for Winnipeg. Every other situation, it's literally just if
I've
BC
never seen this
Calgary.
many situations, though, Coulson and Barney.
It's been wild.
I've never seen how anything in the last weekend of the regular season where these three teams are at play to go who knows where.
Okay, let's look at this as the rider. Keep that up. I love it. Let's look at this from the rider's point of view. Best situation, what we think, and everyone's going to have their own opinion. Get it. That top right is the best situation for the Riders. BC, who's on a bit of a heater, you now got to travel out east. Go get banged up out east in a number of different ways. Calgary hosts Winnipeg. They play it off, and Winnipeg is kind of being written off to this point. And then one of those two teams roll into Mosaic. From a Riders' point of view, is that the best?
Yeah, I'd love to see Winnipeg roll into here. And then they'd see what happens when they're playing the big boys in the refrigerator lineup instead of
they didn't look
so many backups. There's speculation, Barney, very strong speculation, that Zach Collaros does not get along with Winnipeg's offensive coordinator.
Oh, you heard it here somewhat first. Right.
I don't know. That's the talk is they're not on the same page. But we'll never really know, and nobody will say that. But
competitive guys too, right? It's like Harrison, Mace, jostling. We got those Harris clips ready. Coulson, Kate, because Harris today, he talks about if he was upset or how upset he was. He didn't play last week.
Yeah, I mean, but it's you have a role every week, and whatever the role the team asks you to play, make sure you do it to the best of your ability. And so that was where my mindset went. As soon as he told me that I wasn't playing, obviously disappointed, but I get it. I understand.
So you are of the mindset, and I think there's a bunch of people on the Prairie Land Rituals text line and the YouTube chat as well. You play him this week, Harris.
Yeah, I think you have to play him. I've tried to predict right on this show with you, Barney, what the coach will do in situations like this. I'm wrong every single time. Every single time my predictions have been way off. I cannot read Coach Mace's mind at all.
What, did you hear those first few clips he gave us? He didn't say anything.
I know, but so will Harris play the first half, for example? Will he play the first quarter? Will he... I'm guessing he'd play the first half and mirror the second half, but I'm always wrong. So
I am okay with a little bit of rust or trying to work off rust in practice. I do not want to see Trevor Harris play football. That's just me.
Oh, so you'd rather he didn't play at all?
Rather he does. I don't even need him bringing his gear to wear.
Well, they have to because Tommy Stevens is injured.
Yeah.
But otherwise, so you'd not see him play at all.
He can be like the kids on the sidelines, socks and Birkenstocks or Crocs. You're not putting on cleats. We're not getting. We don't want any excitement out of you to go in. Okay, Harris talks about what is the importance to him to play this week.
I'd love it. Anytime we get an opportunity to play, it's always important. The more reps, the better. I've told you guys in preseason, I've told Mace, let me play 3.5 quarters, and if it's close, leave me in. That's how I feel now. So,
no, I don't like anything about that. I don't. And everyone's disagreeing with me. What is Justin saying here on the chat? Play Harris for the 3 series and then sit him? For 3 series? Nah. Why even play him then? What if? And maybe this is the jaded Patriots fan in me when they played Wes Welker in a nothing game in Houston, and that year they were rolling, and knock on wood, blew his knee out. And Bill Belichick's so smart. Absolute dumb move.
Well, I mean, the thing to remember is there's 2 weeks between the game Saturday and the Western Final. That's 2 weeks. I really think rust can accumulate that length of time, and being that he didn't play last week, I do think he has to play. But what you just said about Wes Welker, you're right. That you don't think that Corey Mace might pop up in the middle of the night and go, oh, just thinking something like that could happen? Of course he does, but I still think he does need some reps in game speed.
Wouldn't it be great to actually know what Coach Mace is thinking?
And don't forget, Harris has already played through a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder this year, and played last year with, I forget which ligament in his knee it was, but injuries to his knee.
Yeah.
So he's already played through stuff, so let's not play through unnecessary.
Take a seat. Trevor, take a seat.
But there is that Mr. Rust thing.
Rust-oleum. All right, we'll get back more on the Rider stuff. We're going to hear from Jack Cohn later in the show. Also going to hear, I think, from Logan Ferland and more from Coach Mace. When we come back, we're going to bring in Keith Willoughby. We're going to talk CFL, but he was at Game 6 and 7. We're going to talk Blue Jays. It's a Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. We have lots of winnings still coming up on the show. We're going to give away Rider tickets, Pat tickets, and then $200 to Pump Jacks Cathedral in hour 3. You're going to have to call in for the trivia question, which will be Blue Jay ALCS related. There is your hint. Don't forget about the Saskatchewan Rough Rider 50-50 as well. Get in by Thursday at 5 o'clock, riders5050.ca, because then you're in for the early bird prize, and it's a gooder this week. Cabo San Lucas, all-inclusive, 7 nights, the 5-star Hyatt Ziva Los Cabos Hotel, round-trip transfers, obviously airfare. If you don't want to go, you don't want to go to the sun in Mexico, you can take $7,200 cash, but you got to buy them before Thursday at 5 p.m. at riders5050.ca, and then you're in for the big prize as well on the 50-50. Okay, Western Pizza last night, a wheel, a little Caesar salad, dry rib combo. Perfect night for Western Pizzas every night, if you ask me. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Keith Willoughby is joining us. Keith, with your Blue Jay jersey on. Okay, now you're at Game 6 and 7. Let's go with 7. I was at the 13 World Series, Games 1 and 2 at Fenway in Boston. It's hard to explain to people the atmosphere that have been to regular baseball games. When it gets to the playoffs and a World Series games, it's amped up. Every pass ball matters. Every foul ball matters. How do you explain it to people? What you were there in Toronto, and what can you pass off to them?
Exactly, Barney and Professor. Every single moment of the game, especially in the later innings, becomes so consequential. You are cheering, you are groaning on every pitch. And Barney, I'm glad you began with a Fenway reference, because full disclosure, I pledge allegiance to the nation that is the Boston Red Sox. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I got caught up in the Blue Jay euphoria. Yeah. I'm here for a conference, and so a bunch of us from the conference went Sunday evening. I had nosebleed seats and saw the 6-2 victory. So then Game 7, I thought, what the heck? Once in a lifetime experience, seeing an ALCS Game 7, Toronto coming back from a 2-0 deficit and then a 3-2 deficit. The action was intense. And it began so poorly for the Jays, where the bats were cold. The bats were cold for the Jays, and you look at Cal Raleigh, who went 0 for 4 in Game 6, struck out 3 times. He went 0 for 2 his first 2 times, struck out another time, and then hit the home run to put him up 3-1. I think a lot of Blue Jay Nation was just really thinking, like, is this almost like the Expos 1981 Blue Monday game against the Dodgers? Is this a situation that, they come so close and then they just get punted back down? And then lo and behold, the magical 7th inning transpires. And from then on, it was absolute bananas inside Rogers Center.
Oh, that Rick Monday. Anytime I hear his name, Keith, I get into shakes. Now, you've been to a lot of huge major sports events in your day, Keith. Now, for atmosphere in Game 6, particularly 7, and I knew you'd find your way to 7. I knew, because you were originally only going to 6. He'll be there at 7. But in terms of that atmosphere at 7, where does that rank in your lifetime experience for going to any professional sports games?
It's a great question, Professor. I think obviously when you see a football game, and again, I know I bleed green, so you love Rider Nation. You think of being in the 2013 Grey Cup is pretty incredible. In fact, the last time I was at Rogers Centre was the 2007 Grey Cup, when the Riders beat Winnipeg 23-19. James Johnson has 3 interceptions. The last game my dad and I ever saw before he passed away, he and I went to the game. Nice. And so you think of the football environment, again, maybe because I follow football more, I'm connected to it, but baseball has a unique cadence and a rhythm. Unlike hockey, where it's like a big mosh pit, or football has plays back and forth. Baseball has episodic moments where you've got a pitch, and then you got a 10-second count, and then another pitch. And so you basically create these cycles of people getting anticipated and then groaning or cheering, depending on what's happening. And then when you get into again, from the bottom of the 7th onwards, the entire crowd was standing. Nobody sat down, because they knew once Spring hits the 3-run dinger, the Jays have 6 outs to go and they're AL champions.
It's funny because my kids and my wife, and we're not a baseball house at all, but we love it. I'm telling my son how it's so different than hockey, because hockey, like you said, mosh pit, right? I'm like, it's energy, it's excitement, Football's very similar. I find how I equate baseball to was I had a chance to go to the 2009 PGA Championship, Wai Yang and Tiger battling right down to the 18th hole, and because there's that pause, and then the shot, and then so golf and baseball, I find, are very similar in that. The one thing I've never been to, or I want to go to NASCAR, I want to go to a big Wimbledon or a tennis match to find what that's like, because that's 5 hours long. When you're at the game, what are you doing when Springer hits the home run, first off?
Well, interesting you say that, Barney, because this is a true story, and you're going to think that I'm like pulling your leg here. But during the 7th inning stretch, of course, I end up basically cashing in every holiday gift in my life now to the year 2033 to go last night. I'm 13 rows behind the first base line, great vantage point of the entire stadium. So there's a lot of young people sitting around me there. And during the 7th inning stretch, I'm sitting down. And the guy beside me says, "Buddy, what are you doing?" And I says, "Well, I'm reading Wikipedia." He says, "What are you reading?" And he says, "I'm reading the Joey Bats game in 2015 when Joey Bats came in against the Rangers in the ALDS, and he hit a 3-run homer in the 7th inning. I'm trying to channel this Blue Jays energy." The guy thought I was a nutcase. Then what happens in the 7th inning? Parker gets the walk. We get the single from the shortstop. Jimenez advances them over, and then Springer hits the dinger. The guy thought I was amazing right after that. So it was this beer-infested mosh pit of people just seeing the culmination of what I would say, again, not that I'm a Blue Jay historian, but I would say the 3rd greatest home run in Blue Jay history. Carter in 93 will always be number 1 in terms of when he hit the pitch off Mitch Williams to win Game 6 in the World Series. Joey Bats in 2015, the bat flip, will be number 2. This one I would put as number 3 because it propels the Blue Jays into a situation where they go into the World Series, and for them to come back from a 3-1 deficit when, again, things were looking pretty grim in terms of the ability to hold on. Once Springer got the home run, the crowd goes electric. And then you look at the 8th and 9th innings. The Mariners went 3 up, 3 down in the 8th and 3 up, 3 down in the 9th. Did not get a runner on base. And to see the final inning where he struck out the side was incredible.
It's interesting because so many of the Mariner players stayed in their dugout and watched the Blue Jays celebrate. And I thought, why would you do that? It was just sort of like you're suffering even more. But then I thought on the flip side,
There's some sick people out there.
maybe you want to do that because it'll give you more incentive never to watch that again next season.
No, I think good point, Professor. I believe the case here is that the Mariners are the only franchise in Major League Baseball that has never won a pennant. So they wanted to see what it felt like. They're trying to base, that's what it looks like when you win. Well, now they know.
Yeah, well, they do. Now, let's get to football if we can. Keith, Chris, you are the CFL analytics guru. And, boy, did you look smart in your computer up at the U of S this past weekend. You were 4-0 in terms of the computer's CFL predictions. The Riders, I guess the latest off the press, they have a 34% chance, and that might be lucky because that's George Reed's number. A 34% chance of winning the Grey Cup, Keith.
Thank you for the reference to computer model. A blind squirrel could have picked the results in last week's games. Come on. All four favorite teams won. 3 of the games were blowouts. So I'm not trying to diss the computer model, but to me, it went 4-0. I think the big thing this upcoming week is what do you do for the Riders when they're hosting BC? To me, I would dress 3 quarterbacks. Their names would be Kerry Joseph, John Huffnagel, and Randy Mattingly. I put Papa out there. He'd be holding the ball for the converts. To me, there's no way that you have Trevor Harris play, and people are going to say, he didn't play last week, he didn't play this week, he gets 1 week off. The man's been playing football for 34 years. It's not like he's going to forget how to throw a spiral in 4 weeks.
It's like I'm listening to myself speak here.
Well, you're with Barney.
Next time I come to Saskatoon, I'm taking you for lunch. Too bad Bonanza's not open still.
Barney, you've got to Keith on more.
It's to me, it's a situation where, and I know there was a lot of chatter in the Winnipeg game, which by the way was much closer than I thought it would be. To me, that game had 38-3 written all over it. Because the Riders are basically playing their third stringers, and the Bombers, they did not want to lose to the Riders 3 times in the same season. The Riders put up a game effort, and we put in Jack Cohn at the end. But I'd rather have Cohn get some action because I don't want to be 1970 when Gary Lane is my quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't want to be 2018 when Claros was hurt for the Riders. Brandon Bridge gets T-boned by Jackson Jeffcoat, and David Watford is leading our final drive against the Bombers in 2018 West Semi. At least Cohn got some action. Again, he wasn't great, but neither was Jake Mayer. It's not like Jake Mayer was the second coming of Tom Burgess back there. So let's not go too crazy on the Jake Mayer to Hamilton Hall of Fame announcement. But to me, you put in AJ Ouellette and let him run a wildcat for like the entire game. Then let's just go out there, just play the game, take a knee, and let's also, Barney and Professor, just so you realize, the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now are 12-5. We have never in our franchise's history won a Grey Cup in a season when we've won 13 or more games. So do not win against the Lions. Please do not win. The 13th victory would be the 13th man equivalent for the Riders.
How does your computer? I don't know. I've heard you guys talk on the show before, and I think it's fascinating. How does your computer work though? Like when it's taking into consideration, because so much, if Edmonton can beat Calgary somehow, then things change drastically for BC on what they're doing here Saturday.
And Barney, you hit the nail on the head. That's, if there's one deficiency in the model, that's the glaring issue that the computer model faces. Because what do you do at the end of the year? Well, let's face it, the Riders were not playing. They were not playing the number ones against the Bombers. Who knows what team Edmonton's going to try to play against Calgary? Again, they've been eliminated, but maybe they want to try to beat their interprovincial rivals. It's a really good question. I think that's an issue where, again, I fully realized where with the computer model, you got to take a step back because the last weeks of the season can be really challenging to predict when teams don't play their ones and twos.
Oh, that's totally right. Now, have you ever seen, Keith, I can't remember in recent memory where on the last weekend of the CFL season, 3 teams in the West have no idea where they're going or where they're going to finish. It stands as a great sales pitch for the CFL to have such a wild scenario with these 3 teams.
Exactly. In fact, if you look at the records of the teams amongst themselves, Calgary pounded the lines twice. Sorry. BC pounded the lines twice. Sorry, BC pounded Calgary twice.
That's right. Yep.
Calgary beats Winnipeg 3 times, and Winnipeg beats BC twice. So they basically they are perfect against each other in terms of they won and lost against the different opponents. To me, it's a situation where I would hope from a rider's perspective. I would rather have us play Calgary because when Nathan Rourke gets hot, to me he's the MOP. I do not want to play Winnipeg again. We've lost 4 times in a row to the Bombers in the playoffs, and I don't trust us to beat Winnipeg even in the playoffs because 2018, 2019, 2021, 2024, you get the rhythm that's happening here. 4 straight playoff exits at the hands of the Bombers. Have us play Calgary, and we'll go from there.
Until Brady Oliveira's gone, I kind of don't want to see Winnipeg as well. But the sick part of me wants to see them come here and then we dust them. But then the big one I want is us to go to Winnipeg, with Winnipeg somehow making it to the Grey Cup out of the East, and then we beat them there and celebrate in their locker room. And guys carve things into the locker scenario for all time. Keith, I have your contact info now. I could be reaching out. So when are you in Toronto till? You're just extending your stay indefinitely? Have you looked into how much a hotel room is at the Rogers Centre for the game?
No, sadly heading back to Saskatchewan tomorrow. So this will be the end of the journey this past week. But it's, again, for somebody who's I love sports and I follow baseball, not superficially, but I don't follow it a lot. It was cool to be in there. That environment was wild. And I wish, again, I know we're just up against the time, I wish the Argos could tap into the spirit that is the Blue Jays, because there is a Blue Jay mania that's connected with this franchise. And I wish it, could spill over to Toronto Argonauts as well.
Maybe you can figure out a computer that can give us a combination on how that would work. Keith, thanks so much for taking the time and sharing the stories. We'll talk again.
Thanks, Jim. Have a good day.
Right on. Keith Willoughby, shedding some light on a number of things. That is so cool. We are up against the clock here. Let's go to break. It is a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Riders back in the practice field today. Coach Mace not letting us know, showing his cards, I should say, on who's going to be starting and who's going to be playing this weekend. But they did sign American wide receiver COC Mariner, 6'2", 190, played for the ever-popular Michigan Panthers of the UFL this season. He also spent time with the Ottawa Red Blacks in 2022. Western Hockey League tonight, Moose Jaws welcoming Red Deer, 7 p.m. in the Jaw. SJHL, LaRange is in Nipawin. Kindersley travels into Humboldt. NHL, Canadian teams, Edmonton, Ottawa go. The Leafs welcome New Jersey, and Vancouver is in Pittsburgh. Also, NBA starts tonight, Houston at Oklahoma City, and Golden State at the Lakers. SportsCage.com poll today. Who do you think was the MVP of the ALCS for the Toronto Blue Jays? Vote at sportscage.com. Bundle and save with Reliance Heath. Rent a new water heater and softener together. Get $400 in cash back. Call on Reliance today. Hour 2 will start with Arash Madani, who's got some answering to do on the show. We're also going to hear from Mark Peterson of Team Sask at the WHL Cup and head coach of our Regina Thunder. It's a Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Hour 2 of the show on this Tuesday. He said for Saskatchewan Lotteries, the Professor Don Hewitt is with me. That was an interesting first hour. I learned a lot. I want to get to the Prairie Land Rentals text line. You're always welcome to text in 936-6262 or call if you want. James in Regina wrote, I met Yankees Dave Winfield and Don Mattingly 40 years ago on a trip to Minneapolis to see my beloved Yankees and Twins. They chatted with me for 15 minutes. Both marveled at me and my buddy that we drove 800 miles just to see them. I asked Winfield if I could meet Ricky Henderson. He says you could, but he's in the clubhouse right now looking at himself in the mirror. True story.
And Winfield was, of course, a Blue Jay as well.
Yeah, Ricky Henderson.
That's a good one.
Trevor in Regina says, guys, pretty simple. Bernie Clement reaction said it all. After the Springer hit, he was shocked, turned to the crowd in pure joy and excitement. I agree, it was like watching kids, because that's what I said.
That's one of the reasons that they're in the World Series. That the way he's playing, he's got that red bat, and it's absolutely on fire. Like he's having a heck of a playoff for a guy that was almost cut loose from baseball not that long ago. He got a tryout for the Blue Jays to play in the minors.
Really?
To play in the minors.
And
look what he's doing. I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong out there, SportsCage Nation. Didn't Roberto Alomar have like a red-ish looking bat back in the day? And he had that really low stance. It was like using the Ninja Black Sox in Baseball Stars in Nintendo. And it was a reddish bat. And that kind of reminds me, Roberto Alomar, he spit on an ump and I was young. That's when I lost respect for him. But he had that really good commercial. Hey, Roberto, what's the toughest pitcher you ever faced? The one with McCain Punch. It was a McCain Punch commercial, and it was played over and over. Made you want, as a kid.
Like all Canadian commercials, one too many times.
Oh, that RBC one with, is it Will Arnett?
Yeah. The guy from...
it's like, okay. And then last year it was lay it on the line and all that for the NHL playoffs. It gets a little too much. What should I say? I'm in the advertising business. I should shut up.
I wanted to bring something up about a show we did 2 weeks ago, the last time I was on the show, and you had Chris Milo, the former Rider kicker, on. Since Chris Milo talked about how Brett Lawther has to start enjoying the game, having a few laughs, having fun again, Brett Lawther has kicked extremely well. He basically won the game against Toronto. He was 3 for 4 in Winnipeg. Milo was going to call him and just give him that message, just have fun again, and I believe it's worked. I believe from 2 weeks ago in SportsCage, Chris Milo had the magic wand solution for Brett Lawther. He got it because Brett just had to start having fun again, enjoying himself, and start kidding around in the locker room. If I was his teammate, I'd be telling him jokes 24/7. And I think Chris Milo hit it right on the head. Look how well he's been kicking since.
Very good point. Good point. Good memory. We're going to hear Coach Mace talking about Lawther here right away. We're waiting for Arash Madani for his weekly segment. There's a good chance he's not showing up today. Is he here? Arash? Okay, but I want to go to Don teed it up here. Let's go to Coach Mace. It's Mace for Colson on the importance of Brett Lawther finding his groove.
Yeah, extremely, extremely important. Some things, whether it's through the week of practice or, banging out a couple throughout the game. With me and with the trust that I've had in him and the experience I have with him, there's going to be certain times where we're tossing him out there on some long ones, but. We trust him to get it done, or we trust our cover team to make sure it's not turned into an explosion play. So, but for him to get back into the vibe, certainly, like anything else, trying to be at your best when you head into the second season.
By the way, and I haven't been on for since they got the extension, O'Day and Mace. Yeah. And I thought that was great. Of course, they did the same thing in Montreal yesterday with their GM and head coach. Yep. The only thing I continue to wake up in the middle of the night screaming about is if Ottawa tried to get Mace as the head coach and general manager, that would be scary because they could pay him more. Otherwise, ecstatic. Yeah, but we need Mace here for many, many years.
What about Mark Mueller?
Yeah, there's rumors about him in Ottawa.
Do you think he's going to just stick around, though, a little bit longer, get seasoned? He's got a good thing here.
I have no idea. I think he's had a really good season for Saskatchewan for sure, calling the plays. I have no idea if he's in play in Ottawa or not. I mean, Bob Dice hasn't been fired yet. So.
Sorry, Bobby, if you're listening, which you're not. The Mueller thing, though, the only thing, it's like he got such a good thing going here. He's still super young. A couple more years, maybe, of this band being together, and then break off on your own.
Well, you know what? If the Rough Riders win the Grey Cup, things can look pretty good for some of their coaches, obviously, if they win the Grey Cup. And we'll see what happens.
It's like playing hockey, or you hear and coaching in Toronto, or Edmonton, or Montreal. It's like, you're in the mixer. Like, you are in the pressure cooker, which is really good when it's good, but when it's bad, you want that Ottawa gig where no one really cares that much. It's like sit back and relax on that. Is he there? Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's talk with Coast to Coast with Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
I don't know anybody out there that has never been wrong, but do they get crucified as much as you and I would, or the professor, or anybody that has a little bit of a platform here? So lots of people were throwing daggers last night. I said to my wife, Trisha, I'm feeling sorry for Arash right now. But on a scale, Arash, of on the Mount Rushmore of bad takes, where does that one rank for you?
What, saying that they should sit George Springer and then he hits one of the most iconic home runs in the history of the Toronto Blue Jays franchise? That one?
Yes, that one.
On one knee, one at-bat after having maybe the worst at-bat of his career. After an offense that couldn't do a thing, he brings it alive. After he just probably knocked Jose Bautista off the medal podium for biggest home runs in franchise history. I mean, that's a pretty good one, Barney. I got to say, that's quite a take.
I'm going to, believe it or not, I'm going to defend Arash briefly here.
Go ahead.
Because George Springer, although he was still hobbled last night, he wasn't as hobbled. He looked better than the night before. Just the way he walked around, and he looked like he was in so much pain the night before on Sunday that I don't know if I don't know. I wouldn't have agreed with Arash because he's such a leader. You still have to have him in there just because he's such a vocal leader for the team. But I see where Arash was coming from, and I think he was feeling better last night.
I think he was feeling better too, Don. I tell you what. Here's what else was interesting about last night's game. Last night's game was kind of a bit of a microcosm of the Blue Jays season. When you think about when spring training opened February, this is a team that won 74 ball games or something like that last year, mid-70s, high 70s. There were no expectations on the Blue Jays. Like, nobody in February or March or April or May or June thought they had a chance. 20 March, 20 April, 20 May, 20 June, 20... Then suddenly, like Canada Day rolled around, they couldn't lose for the entire month of July. They get back into the race.
Yeah.
So, the first half of this game, the bats do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then in the sixth inning on October the 20th, you look up at the scoreboard, it's 3-1. Seattle's bullpen's been really good. The Blue Jay bats have been MIA. You're saying to yourself, well, it was a heck of a run.
Yeah.
They got this far. And then just like the regular season, out of nowhere, this lightning in a bottle, this swing to the heavens.
Yeah.
And, it's right there with Carter and Alomar and Bautista, and not just them, some of the great moments in baseball postseason history. So it's just incredible how sports, how October baseball, how the drama, like all of it kind of comes in. And the biggest thing of all, guys, after Game 6, after Game 5, after the debacle there, in Game 6, 8th inning onwards, last night from the jump, John Schneider wasn't messing around with his pitching. It was dial him up, go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And they were talking about that in the broadcast. And I was like, again.
Can't argue with what he did last night. That's for darn sure.
Brandon Little did not get loose last night, right?
The Barney Shynkaruk lookalike. There he is. He looks.
I don't think I look.
He's a lookalike for Brandon Little.
I don't
Arash.
look at that. Look
Barney.
at how slim that guy is, Arash. That guy hasn't hit a Western pizza. And leftovers. More leftovers. Anywho, I love this. And I think Colson's going to tee this up actually for Thursday. Ryan from Vanscoy. Great town. Great hockey rink, by the way. He's saying I've been wanting to text this in for a while now, but it could be a laugh to replay all of your reactions on the Sports Cage the day after the Jays opening day loss. I think I was hard on the Jays for a while there.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were a disaster the first month of the season. Like, they were an afterthought. You know, it was the best thing that probably could have happened to them that the Oilers made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
And the Leafs got to Game 7 of Round 2. The Jays weren't even thought about for April, May, and June. They got hot in July. They could not lose in July.
That's right.
And made up so much ground, and then it was on. And because they made up so much ground, that allowed them to be in a position to buy at the deadline. So they went and got Shane Bieber, who, just happened to start Game 7. And they went out and hired Louis Varland, who got a huge out in the 4th inning of Game 7. And this was in the aftermath of paying Jeff Hoffman $39 million in free agency, where he gets the last 6 outs of Game 6 and the last 3 outs of Game 7. So even without Bo Bichette, it's amazing how it all kind of unfolds and it plays out. The closer who had so many ups and downs throughout the season, the team that had so many ups and downs. Kevin Gausman gets in for an inning, the ace of that staff who really struggled in May.
Yeah.
In parts of June. He delivers for them. It really takes everybody. And the Blue Jays have shown that late in the season, especially in the postseason.
Well, it looks, Arash, like they have such character, such togetherness. The most comebacks in games in the major leagues this year. Talk to us about Blue Jay chemistry versus all that bought talent in Los Angeles. Because can chemistry beat the enormous talent that the LA Dodgers have?
You know what's amazing, Don? Like, I'm old enough to remember when the Los Angeles Dodgers, for much of the 2010s and a good chunk of the 2020s, were the team that could never win the World Series. They were the team that always came up short. I don't know how many Octobers I was at Chavez Ravine for divisional series and championship series and World Series. And George Springer and the Astros and their garbage cans came to town. and Alex Cora and the Red Sox came to town. And the Washington Nationals in 2019 came to town. And on it went. Atlanta in 21, Max Scherzer and the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, yes, they won last year, and obviously the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam and Mookie Betts being Mookie Betts and all these things. Look, it's still baseball. And Barney, I don't know if I brought this up yesterday or not. Yeah, the Dodgers are the overwhelming
That they should sit
favorite.
Springer?
Not that one. I'm gonna park that one for a few days. Maybe it might come up later in the series, in the World Series. But like, here's the amazing thing about baseball: if you fail 70% of the time, you're making $500 million and you're going to the Hall of Fame. And if you fail 77% of the time, you're riding the bus in the minors making $70,000. So in a best of 7 series, all the stars have to come together. Like Trey Savage is just this unicorn who's fallen from their lap. Like it's, so everyone's kind of written off the Blue Jays, or a lot of people have written off the Blue Jays, especially south of the border. I'm like, man, it is a baseball series. These guys have been off for a week. All bets are off right now.
Maybe this is a question, Colson, that we could have like Friday on the Cage too, but I want to ask these guys. We'll start with you, Don. More tension, overtime in a hockey game or extra innings in a baseball game?
That's probably a draw. It depends, obviously. And are you talking about,
because I saw this after the
Stanley Cup final versus World Series.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd be pretty close because there's so much on the line.
What would you think, Arash?
I'm just going to kind of pivot just a little bit off of Barney. There's no bigger gap between a regular season baseball game and a playoff baseball game in terms of intensity.
Yeah.
Like you go to a game even in early September, if you were in Seattle on Labor Day weekend, you'd see some people like doing a crossword puzzle, like, really stretching out, getting
big
a tan.
crossword
They're on
guy.
their phones, like everyone's just chilling at the ballpark, But then you get to October, and every pitch matters. That's the biggest difference.
So, because the reason I saw it, and it was something that SVP Scott Van Pelt had a while ago on a tweet, and then I saw the reply, and it hit the nail on the head to kind of where I was thinking. It's like two different types of horror movies. Hockey is like Jason from Friday the 13th, where it's just constant action, gore, simply relentless, and then baseball is like a Hitchcock, where the stress is building up over small things, and then all hell breaks loose, which I found very, very on brand for both there. Mm-hmm. What was the city like last night? Toronto, obviously no cars on fires. I didn't see any.
People were climbing, light posts and all that stuff downtown. I went to a local establishment, and
for sure,
people are into this right now, man. Like, I got to tell you, Barney, because I know this is right up your alley. Tickets.
Drinking? Oh.
Tickets went on pizza. Tickets went on sale today, and they went in a second. The resale market right now for a pair of tickets in the lower bowl, $4,000.
Mm-hmm. Anywhere in the lower bowl, pretty much.
That'll go down.
$4,000.
I'm going to go to my
two pop. Yeah, I don't think it'll go down by Friday, but we'll see how this all unfolds.
You don't think so?
The fact that it's a Friday, Saturday game 1 and 2. It's given. They're like, I've gotten messages from friends of mine in Nova Scotia. Friends of mine in Montreal. They're like, we're just coming to Toronto. We just want to be here for the weekend. We want to
scene.
Soak it all in. And there are a lot of vibes right now that remind me of 2019, when out of nowhere the Raptors went on their run.
Mm-hmm.
And they were down hour one.
Yeah. There you go.
Remember the Raptors in the conference final to Milwaukee? They were down 2-0, just like the Jays were down 2-0 to Seattle. The Raptors had their signature moment with Kawhi, the crouch in the corner in Game 7. The Blue Jays have their signature moment with George Springer hitting the home run because they didn't sit him last night. Because some idiot called him a liability. Like, it's amazing how the parallels, it's how much people want to be part of it, touch it, feel it, experience it. So it's a really neat time to be in the city.
For aftermarket tickets, you could probably add $1,000 to $1,500 just because of Ohtani. Just because people want to see him after that game.
Don, the opponent right now doesn't matter. It's just the Jays. It's Vladdy. It's Springer.
No, that's true. But I think Ohtani still adds. I don't know, after that world's greatest baseball performance, Arash. What happens if he hits 3 home runs and has 10 strikeouts?
He might, the way he's, although Schneider can't pitch to him. If he hits 1, forget it. By the way, speaking of John Schneider, my former employer had him on for their radio interview today. I thought there were 2 things that really stood out. One, when it comes to the immediate with Bo Bichette, Schneider said that Bichette was at the ballpark today, that he's made significant progress, and that he's back running the bases. Guys, it wouldn't shock me if Bichette ends up as the designated hitter in this series and they activate him.
What do you do with Springer, though, with Bichette? I mean, what happens with the DH? It
depends on Springer's knee. I'm done talking about George's knee. But, what do they do? Well, from a roster spot standpoint, do you either drop Loperfido? Would you drop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa? It's just that Bo can't play the infield. Like, you can't change direction, twist, all those things.
No, I know.
He hasn't played in a game since September 6th. So that was one. The other thing that Schneider said, and I thought this was really interesting, and I think this is a great message for a lot of coaches. He said he was talking to Don Mattingly yesterday. He was on the coaching staff, and DeMarlo Hale, like 2 baseball bets.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it's Game 7, and they said, hey, by the way, Let the players decide this thing.
Oh.
And that's one thing Schneider said. He said, my job managing this time of year in October is to stay out of the way, let the players decide it, to read the room and read the pulse. In the regular season, sometimes you try and force things. Sometimes you really try and thread the needle based on numbers and projections and matchups and splits and all those kinds of things. But not in October and not in a Game 7. He said, my job is to stay out of the way, let the players decide it, read the room, read the pulse, go about it from there. That's what he did, and they're headed to the World Series.
Let's keep a track of this, Colson, for Thursday when we talk to Arash, because I got get in price plus fees. You're about before fees $1,100-ish in LA. Chavez Ravine $762 to get in price. Let's keep track of this and see where it goes. I'm just saying, if you're a Jays fan, if you're a Jays hardo, you got to go. I said this in hour one, Arash, and the way I live, if in a year from now, if you're not going to go, that really put me under. Like, I don't know if I can ever rebound. Don't do it. But if you can figure out a way that in a year from now, you're not really going to miss it, go and do it. Take it. I'm an experienced guy, though. I'm not a tangible. My wife hates that about me. Let me guess what you want for Christmas. Another trip. Yeah, you are correct, honey. Okay, let's talk Thursday, buddy. And thanks for doing this. We had your back the whole way.
Yeah, tell your buddy Mark I have a few things to say to him.
Ooh, all right. Fighting words. I like it. Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533. Quick break here. Come back with some local flavor on the Clutch Performers. It's a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Okay, Clutch Performers. I got a couple here going to pull up and keeping it local on my front. We just had this one come in. The Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. How about this, Colson? Talk about a shout out. Young guy from Deer Valley, Baden Schweitzer, 16 years old. He placed 4th in the Canadian National Mountain Running Championships U20 division. It was held in the Laurentians this past week. Those are mountains, if you don't know, people. They're not just crayons from back in the day, pencil crayons. It says not bad for a Flatlander kid. I get how many of those hills around Deer Valley would you have to run? Baden Schweitzer, that's impressive. That sounds impressive, and I'm sure it is impressive. So, first one to him, and then my other ones, Colson, I don't know if you got, but go to the pictures here. City Championship on the boys' front when it comes to soccer. Shout out. Man, it looks like a cool evening there. It was Campbell Tartans defeating Leboldus 2-0 for the 5A boys soccer city championships. If you're watching the stream, you see the picture there. One guy on crutches. They're all celebrating together. And then on the ladies' side, the females, it was Miller defeated O'Neill 4-2. Again, for the girls' city soccer championship. So congratulations to everyone there. Yeah. Do you have one?
He's been brought up a couple times already, but I figured Don Madani, 4 years in the MLB, getting to his first World Series. Mm-hmm. That deserves a clutch performer right there.
Have you ever seen The Simpsons? Mattingly shave those sideburns. Have you ever seen that episode? Okay. When we're in news, you're going to have to watch it. It's funny. It'll make sense.
Okay.
And Mattingly, shave those sideburns. Clutch performers for Nick Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. Okay, the local thing is going to continue here. We're going to go to break. When we come back, what's that? Oh, we're going straight in. All right, let's talk some local hockey right now. Coming in on the line with us, it's we're going to talk about the WHL Cup, which starts tomorrow in Red Deer, Alberta. Okay, let's continue going here, talking local. We're going out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. We are joined by head coach of Team Saskatchewan at the WHL Cup, Mark Peterson. Mark, you guys are in Red Deer. You start playing tomorrow games, but I heard a little issue getting there. The old hockey story, your bus broke down on the way to Red Deer.
It did. Sunday was a long day. We were supposed to get to Red Deer for 7:15 supper, and we pulled in at 10:15. Spent a couple hours on the side of the road watching the Jays game. Thank goodness for technology and Wi-Fi so we could catch the Jays game. Otherwise, there might have been a few more upset people that we had that bump in the road. But hey, stuff happens, right? And so you figure it out, and away you go, and it's a good story to tell.
Exactly. It makes for a good story down the road for sure. And luckily, it's not minus 40, where it's easily to get stuck on the side of a road when it's that cold. You're head coach in here, your fourth year with the Team Sask run, building this team. How does that come about? Because that's one of the questions, I know people are asking and people think about as well, because you can't have 12 forwards that are all the same player. Yeah, there's a lot of goal scorers in the province and all that. Take us through building this team and the process and the camps and then what you do in the summer and how you guys come up with what you have now.
For sure. So the planning for this really starts in December. So in December of this upcoming year will be the 2011 birth year's opportunity for Sask first. And so they start with a North camp and a South camp where anyone in that U15 second age can go to a camp. And then they get down to 160 for a Christmas tournament towards the end of December in Regina. And then it goes down to the top 80 in Balgoni in February. And then it goes down to 34 is what we did this year, and then in September we picked a team, get down to 20. So it's a long process, and it's something that I think I don't think a lot of people realize how big of a process it is. And so in terms of our coaching staff, we found out in February that we were going to be involved, and we tried to start implementing things in terms of how we wanted to play back in February. And then throughout June we have a one-day kind of thing, team building. July there's a boot camp weekend, and then September we actually get a chance to hit the ice and really pick the team. But there's a lot of moving parts in this, and there's a process involved to try and make sure that we're doing what we can to represent the province in the best way.
You got a lot of hockey experience, and so do your associate coaches as well. What kind of team are we going to see from Team Sask here? What have you put together?
We're gonna be a gritty team. Like, we're gonna be Saskatchewan hockey, baby. Like, we're gonna play hard. We're gonna play fast. We're gonna stay above guys. We're gonna try and play as one unit. And our skill, everybody keeps telling us that our skill level maybe isn't as high as everybody else, but I don't really care, because the most important skill is hard work, and we're gonna do that. So that's what we're gonna be. We'll see how she goes, though.
Yeah, and it's no secret too. A lot of people were maybe expecting and hoping that Maddox Schultz would be there. Maddox isn't going to there. So when it comes to goal scoring, who on this team maybe is going to have to carry some of the load? Who are the group? It's probably coming by a group of them that will carry the goal scoring here.
Yeah, I think on our back end, we actually have some really offensive, gifted defensemen. Andrew Reshney is going to be our captain, and Cohen Rudig, Jet Pripich. I'm going to leave a couple guys out, and they're going to be mad at me. But I think all those guys on the back end can score. And then up front, it's going to be by committee, and everybody's going to have to play the same way. Cash Elke is a high draft pick with Moose Jaw Warriors, and we expect big things out of him and his big frame. And then it's going to be kind of by committee. I mean, there's a couple... Malin Wiley, I've gotten his name wrong for 3 months, but I think I nailed it there. He's going to be a big offensive guy, and we've got some big bodies, and we're going to play a game that Cam Abeg's going to spend a lot of time upsetting people in front of the net and crashing and that type of thing. So it's going to be by committee, but we think some offense from our back end too.
Good goaltending. How you just split it down the middle? How does the goaltending thing work?
Yeah, it's an interesting tournament because we think our goaltenders are pretty strong for this. In the past, we've kind of rode one guy once you get to the weekend. So we play 3 round robin games. We play tomorrow at 4:15, Friday at 7, and then Thursday at 7, and then Friday morning at 10:30. So there's a pretty quick turnaround for those games. So we'll have to be strategic in terms of making sure that our goaltender has adequate rest and is in the best spot for the weekend. So
what do you expect against the other teams? Because that's part of the fun, I guess, is the unknown. You'd know a little bit, and these players would know a little bit about each other. But what are you expecting from the other teams in this?
Well, everybody keeps telling us that everybody's more skilled than us. So we expect, I guess, to see some skill. But, I mean, being involved in this is my 4th year now. Teams kind of have an identity from their province that they play with. Like BC and Alberta are going to be skilled. Manitoba's going to be a little bit more meat and potatoes like Saskatchewan. And so the fun part is for us now as coaches, we've put into place what we want to try and accomplish. And it might go completely sideways tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have to make a new plan, right? And that's the beauty of it. And especially in a short-term competition is that, I mean, the 1 year Saskatchewan won this thing, they went 0-3 in the round robin and ended up winning gold on Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday is what we're preparing for and trying to take advantage of teaching on the way.
And you talk about the coaches and knowing each other, and you guys haven't been together that long. Like February wasn't that long ago, but you guys are all obviously of the same mindset to be like, hey, we got to pivot here. This isn't working. These guys aren't working together, or this team's going to pose this to us. You guys must all be on the same. You got eye in the sky. You got guys on the bench with you, and it's just make that easy and quick pivot.
Yeah, it is. And I think the best thing that you can do is surround yourself with good people. And our coaching staff, Dave Adolph, convinced him to come out of retirement. Kyle Schneider, who's a new young head coach in Kindersley, and Jack Flamin, who's living out in Halifax. These guys are all fantastic, and they challenge each other. We challenge each other. We ask questions. And on that side of the road, and on Sunday night, Dave and Kyle and I, Jack was flying in. We had the whiteboard out in between innings talking about different scenarios and situations, and it wasn't always Mark gets what he wants. It was a challenging conversation. That's the best part about our staff so far, is that we're willing to do those things. And yeah, you have to adjust, right? Short-term competition, win or go home, Saturday, Sunday.
Next time you get the whiteboard out, you got to say, hey, Dave, as long as they don't take a penalty in a national championship in overtime, we'll be
I'm not going there.
Yeah, I know. That was a sore spot for a lot of the Huskies and people that followed the Huskies back then. Thanks for taking some time. This has been great. Hopefully the bus is all patched up and ready to go, and then you guys hit the ice tomorrow. We'll be covering it here and keeping track of you guys. Best of luck, Mark.
Okay, appreciate it.
Don't forget, still, we got winning to give away Rider tickets and Pat tickets, and don't forget about the Rough Rider Foundation 50-50. Get in by Thursday at 5 o'clock, and you're into the early bird prize as well. Cabo San Lucas, 7 nights, 5-star, or you can take $7,200 cash. Riders5050.ca. Okay, time for Sprinkle of the Day. Brought to you by Sports Select. I've talked about this. Colson, you've heard me talk about this. How you can go sportselect.com on your phone, on a computer, tablet, whatever, and you can go to futures. Now, if you don't know what a future is, you're predicting who's going to win NBA championship, NHL, soccer. They got golf, everything. But we're going to go to the Major League Baseball. We're going to go to the World Series. And the winner for the World Series, talked about this in hour one, the odds, Dodgers, betting odds on the pro line, 140, the Blue Jays 255. So a dog there. Now, I don't mind the most valuable player. If you're watching the stream, Colson's navigating through. Most valuable player, Ohtani, is the favorite, followed by Vladimir Guerrero, paying 6 on the line there. The odds are 6, and then Freddie Freeman would be third, ties to Canada. George Springer would be fourth. So, sprinkle of the day, if you want, if you're feeling lucky, go online. The Blue Jays to win the World Series, 255. There's a whole lot of other ones. You can go check it out online at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks. generate the code, take them into your local lotto spot retailer, and it prints it off right there. Every bet is 100% legal with a chance to win cash in hand. Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play, and play responsibly. Let's go back out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. There he is, head coach of the Regina Thunder, Scott MacAulay, joining us. All right, Coach. First off, how many years have you either coached or played, been around junior football?
Well, I played back in 96, 97, 98 with the Regina Rams, and then played for the Thunder in 2000 and coached 2001, 2002, and then came back in 2010. So quite a long time.
How many years is that? What are we looking? 20, almost 20 some years?
Yeah. Something like that.
So with all that experience and all that, the 632 yards, that special day, setting a record. You've been around junior football that long. Has it really sunk in yet? Like what you guys did there that day?
It was too cold to let it sink in, no, it was pretty cool to see. Didn't really realize like how much we actually ran for. We're just trying to control the clock and get out of the game. Even the refs are saying like, you better not throw the ball, like keep running and get the clock down here and so we can get out. Like afterwards, I was more shocked that we only threw the ball 4 times. Like absolutely shocked. I thought we threw way more than that, but pretty special for the offensive line. Like those guys are beasts and they're mean and they're strong and they're tough, and it's pretty cool that they're able to set that record.
Yeah, take us through this offensive line and then the running game in general. What makes it tick? Like obviously, we've heard Greg's been on the show with me too before. We just talked about how there's like the men are up there and they're pushing guys around. Just talk about that offensive line and the running game as a whole.
Well, I mean, there's 2 guys like that are on the Rider practice roster. There's Caleb Braha and then also James Lucio, and both those guys are guys that we picked up from California that really fit into our culture and we wanted to keep around and stuff. And they're big and they're strong. And Caleb plays left tackle, James plays center, and then with that as well, we got some local guys like we have Tristan Rapchuk, who most people would think maybe he's undersized, but the guy is unbelievably strong. He's definitely tough, and he knows how to like use his body for leverage and stuff, right? You might beat him once, but that'll be about it. But he's been fantastic. And then on the right side, we have Nolan Finn, who's actually from he was at Simon Fraser when they shut down the program, and he kind of fell into our lap. And then also our right tackle is Ethan Kreutzer, who's a local Regina kid as well. And then behind them, we actually got 3 other guys that could play. Parker Robertson out of Swift Current. We got Ben Rutherford out of Maple Creek. And then also Matthew Dunn and Shadow Davidson, or Canaston is actually where he's from, but he went to school in Davidson. But those guys, like so I think some of our successes is that we have a bunch of personnel packages where, maybe we go with the 5 guys and we play a 6 O-lineman as a tight end or both, or we play with 2 tight ends with 7 offensive linemen out there. And then, add a fullback in. He's been kind of the guy that's been the game changer, and that's Connor Allen out of Martin High School or Martin Collegiate. And he's just a tough dude, man. And he just gets on to guys, and he's short in stature, but he's strong, and he gets his hands right into their chest, and he just runs guys into the ground. So, we might have 7 O-linemen and a fullback and then 2 tailbacks, that we can use interchangeably. Peter Horsch has been out great for us, can run the rock, but he can also block too, right? And same thing with Carter Ashman.
Are ideally, like it looks, I'm looking at Sunday, we got 13 degrees. It's actually perfect football weather. But with the way this team is built, is there an ideal kind of forecast temperature? It was snowy and slippery and all that when you guys set the record. Does it really matter to you, or would you rather see it more that running game kind of weather?
Well, I think for Sunday it'd be great if we could have a storm and have it blizzardy and all that kind of stuff. No, but Sask, they're gritty too. Like they got 3 great running backs that can score from anywhere on the field and stuff, and they got a strong offensive line. And I know like their defensive front 7 are really good at filling and flowing to the ball really quickly, and gave us a lot of different types of problems that we had to face. So maybe you go with the nice weather, I guess, and you can throw some RPOs or play action passes in there as well and keep them honest.
You guys lose here 18-15 on September 6th, and then you win there 24-21. As tight as ever. Are there any surprises? Do we expect any surprises coming on Sunday?
I mean, I think there might be a couple of trick plays, like up everyone's sleeve and stuff. Like Sask always will do like one or two things per game that will kind of maybe catch us off guard. But I think really it's going to boil down to like whatever team makes the plays. Like, they were very, very similar in stature. Like their defense matches up well with our offense and vice versa on the other side for us. And really it's going to boil down to like what players show up and how they're able to make the plays.
Home field didn't matter in the regular season because you both won on each other's fields, but having it here, will that be a little bit of a difference? Bigger crowd, having that home crowd here Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, like we play at Liable Field. That's where we play. So going to Mosaic Stadium for us, against the Hilltops every year is sort of a new experience for our guys as well, right? And it definitely gets super loud. Like, I mean, it's not 30,000 people there, but you put in 3,000 people on that side, like it's way louder than I would have remotely even thought. But we expect probably about 4,000 to 5,000 for this game on Sunday, and it's going to be loud, and I think it's going to be exciting because, I mean, we are at home, and you got a lot of your own family and friends supporting you in the stands, and it's going to be action packed.
Any chance of piping in some crowd noise? Is that I know that's illegal. I'm just. What about
whoever was playing their music last time we played them was definitely like loud enough. I couldn't even talk to my own coaches. Like, I'm like, why are we playing the music so loud here? Can I know it? Communicate with my own coaches here.
Take note, music guys. Take note. Maybe pot it down a bit when the Thunder are rolling. What about experience? And you have a lot of that. And like it was quite the run last year. Is experience play as much as one would think into this?
I think so. Like, we really kind of like studied everything, especially like during COVID. Like, why certain teams won and why certain teams are not winning and stuff. And like, I think you look at the Hilltops, like every year they're graduating, 50, like anywhere from like 12 to 15 to 20 fifth years every year. Right. And so that like, they're able to retain guys that long, and a 22-year-old guy going against 18-year-olds, like it makes a big difference. You always see, like, you go watch Calgary Colts, like they got phenomenal athletes, or the Edmonton Huskies, like they got a bunch of phenomenal athletes, but they're all 18 and 19-year-old kids. And you're going against 15, 20, 22-year-olds that are on the field and have experience, understand, they got that old man strength.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. So during COVID, like we really dove into that. And that was the one thing that stood out, is like the amount of fifth years that the Hilltops were graduating every year. One, you're winning, and two, like you're doing a good job within the organization to keep guys around that long. So it's something that we're trying to emulate. And I think both teams have, a lot of 22-year-olds that will be playing their last, one of their last two games of the year.
Yeah.
Their careers.
No, there's nothing better than lining up against a Sasky boy with a beard, and you have no idea what age he is. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait. I'm so glad it's in Regina, because it's like, we're going to drive to Saskatoon and all that. It's here. It's going to be the classic matchup. Really looking forward to it, Scott. Best of luck, and hopefully we can catch up again before the next one.
You betcha. Thank you very much.
Right on. Head coach of the Regina Thunder, Scott MacAulay. It's a big one coming up this weekend against the Saskatoon Hilltops. We'll be covering it. We'll be talking about it all week here on the SportsCage. Let's go to break. We're streaming at sportscage.com through our YouTube channel and on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Coach Mace wasn't telling the media anything when it comes to who's starting and who's playing this weekend for the Riders. They were back on the practice field today. The Riders did sign American wide receiver COC Mariner, 6'2", 190, is playing with Michigan in the UFL. He did spend some time in 2022 with the Ottawa Red Blacks. Western Hockey League in Moose Jaw tonight. Red Deer's in town, 7 p.m. puck drop. SJHL in Nippo and LaRange visit, 7 p.m. Kindersley's into Humboldt. National Hockey League Canadian teams, Edmonton and Ottawa go at it. Toronto's welcoming New Jersey, and Vancouver is in Pittsburgh. NBA starts tonight. Houston at Oklahoma City, and Golden State's in Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. SportsCage.com poll today. Who do you think was the MVP of the ALCS for the Toronto Blue Jays? You can vote at SportsCage.com. Sports Ticker is for home of the price match guarantee, Extreme Hockey and Sport, where this month you can win $1,000 back on your purchase from Extreme or Umbrella Marketing. You can visit them at Extreme Hockey and Sport. We're going to start hour 3. Don't forget, we got Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia in hour 3. $200 on the line today. 200-936-6262. You're going to have to call sometime around Glen Suitor. Maybe it's after Glen Suitor. But right now, get the winning going and warm up the dial for Colson over there at 936-6262. We got 2 tickets to the Pats game tomorrow night. Puck drop 7 p.m. Lethbridge is in town. If you want to go to the Pats game, call right now, 936-6262. Or take a break, come back with hour 3 of the Sports Cage. Glen Suitor will start it off. You're watching at sportscage.com through our YouTube channel and listening on 620 CKRM. There it was last night. Look at just kids playing a kids game. Did anyone else feel like that? That's what I felt like watching it. Springer running around the bases, the excitement. And I'm not even a Blue Jay fan. I'm not even a baseball guy. But I'm wrapped up into it. Welcome to the show. Don Hewitt was with us for the first hour and a bit. It was great having the professor on. You can go back and listen to it in podcast form. Keith Willoughby joined us. We talked about the Jays. Keith was at the games. Arash Madani came on, a little bit of egg on his face, along with me. A lot of times when I have my take, we talked that. Mark Peterson, head coach of Team Sask at the WHL Cup, was with us, and Regina Thunder, Scott MacAulay so far. We're going to keep things going in this hour. We're going to go Glen Suitor here right away, and then we got Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia. So stay tuned. We gave away those Pat tickets really quick, so people, you know the drill. 936-6262. When we get ready to have the question, I am going to give you a hint. It's related to the Blue Jays ALCS. $200 to Pump Jacks Cathedral. Buy a lot of soup and ribs and beef dips with that, so be ready for that. Jack Cohn, Logan Ferlin coming up. It's an exciting day. If you're a Jays fan, congratulations. I'm cheering for you guys. I'm want everybody that I know that's a Jays fan. Colin Lovequist down the hall, CKRM. I don't know how he sleeps. I don't know how he sleeps tonight, last night, going into Game 1 of the World Series. It's exciting. They're just like kids. Like I said, so much fun. But you know what? We're going to go Glen Suitor. We're going to talk a lot of football. But when we talk to Suits here, we got to start with some Blue Jays. Here we go.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
So, edge of your seat, Glenn, like everybody else last night?
Barney, this is why we love sports, isn't it? I mean, Game 7, I could watch a Game 7 of lawn bowling.
Yes.
Really, it just, you know what I mean?
I have.
Yeah, exactly. Of
Anything with
bocce
sprinkling.
ball or something.
Yeah.
No, it's the tension. I am far from a baseball expert, but the tension, the strategy, you wondered, and people were weighing in on who was the player of the game. And of course, Springer with the big hit is the obvious choice. But to me, it was the manager. I don't even know the dude, but to me, this team has, they got out coached, the Mariners. From watching Game 7, just the pitching rotation, getting ahead of those guys when they, when they felt like their starting pitcher or whomever it was in the order was just a little bit off. They didn't hesitate. They made the change. I was listening to Buck Martinez say, this is their starters. These guys that are coming up aren't bullpen guys.
Yeah.
And he goes, but they're putting it all on the line right here to win this game. And meanwhile, the Mariners, again, preface that I am not a baseball expert. But I'm watching. Who was the pitcher for the Mariners? Wu, was it? Is his name Wu?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's on the mound, and you could just see in his face before he walked the first Blue Jay, you could see in his face it wasn't like there was something wrong. He had lost his confidence or something. He was looking at the sky. And I thought, and I turned to my wife. First baseball game I've watched in, I don't know, maybe 10 years.
What about your wife? That's what I was doing. Can you believe we're sitting here watching baseball together?
Yes. And she goes, I don't like that guy with the long hair. I don't think he's very good. Anyway, I turn to her and I say, they got to get that pitcher out. He doesn't look like he's got any confidence left. And they do, and that's when Springer hits the home run off the guy that comes off the bench or out of the bullpen. So, I the Game 7 excitement, outstanding, Barney. And, you guys were also talking about what's more exciting, a Game 7 in baseball, a Game 7 in hockey. For me, it's a no-brainer between those two. Hockey wins because of the physicality in hockey. I absolutely love when a team starts to turn that up.
I'm glad you said that, because recency bias right now, you'd be like, oh, baseball. Like that was just but then we fast forward things to when we get to the Stanley Cup final, and if you're an Oilers fan, you've been living it too, where like that sudden death in hockey is something else. But you being a football guy, do you prefer the one game showdown kind of for a championship or a chance to go to a championship?
Yeah, you have to in football, because if you played some kind of series, and there used to be back in the day, you just take too long, right? It would be because you have to recover for a full week after a football game, and basically that would be impossible. But they did have 2-game best total points series back 100 years ago, so that it's not completely foreign to football. But no, I love the sudden death aspect. I would, on a sort of an outside of that survey, I would also put in the final 3 minutes of a CFL playoff game, and a 1-possession game when you're up by 4. And you have to make every throw, and you have to make every catch, and to come back and win, and then your kicker has to come out and possibly win it for you. Mm-hmm. Just to bring up another angle in the Saskatchewan discussion.
Yeah, we can get to that in a bit. Yeah, and I think too, as a golfer, a major coming down to the 18th hole, and everybody, most of us have golfed. Imagine that pressure and the shakes, and like you're not allowed to drink. Like, how do you get rid of that? Like that is so much pressure. Yeah, it's exciting, and now they get to take on, the big bad Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'll
watch. Like I said, I had trouble watching my kid play baseball, and I was the coach for a while. So it was difficult to watch that, but I'm going to watch every game. I will watch every game of this series. I'll tape them, because in fact they're going to conflict with some of our games this weekend, because they start on Friday, play Friday, Saturday. So hopefully people will PVR. Is that what we're calling it now? No, it's beyond that. Something else. Sure. Tape it anyway. Yeah. Tape it. Tape the football game and watch it later.
I think PVR still stands. I think like recording it would be dating ourselves, but yeah, PVR is good. Okay, let's get into football here. I want to play this clip from Coach Mace today, and I just want you to listen to both of these, maybe the first one, and then I'll play the second one, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so first off today, he's asked if there was a plan to play more starters this week.
Yeah, definitely. We got a plan in place, and similar to last week, we identified what we want to do, and we stuck to it, man. So we got a different one set in place this week, and we'll stick to that.
Okay, so that's the first one. And then, Coach Mace, what is the importance of getting the number ones some reps?
Yeah, no, it's just being able to keep the guys around the game, and you can't mimic live reps. You know what I mean? So I think it's crucial, for our guys to be able to go out there and do that. But at the same time, you got to make sure that you're putting the vision on for the future, but also trying to maintain the balance of having the right guys on the roster to still go win a game.
Talk about holding your cards right in that chest vest region. You get to interview these guys. You get to preview them for tiers. Where does Coach Mace land in not giving you really anything?
Well, first of all, that answer, both of those answers, he could run for office. I mean, he could run for some apolitical party, whatever he wants, with those kind of answers and saying nothing but a lengthy answer like that. We talk to them before every game that we do, and he's quite open, but a lot of that is under sort of lock and key
embargo
until, Yes, until we kick it off, because we have to know what the roster changes are so we can be ready for intros and player profiles and things like that. So that's more for our tape department and things like that. So, yeah, we get a lot of that inside info, but it's only like 2 days before. So on a Friday night game, we'll get it. We'll have our Zoom call on Wednesday, and he'll give us. And then there'll be 2 or 3 players where he said will be game time, and he'll tell us that way as well. So, Barney, I said it before last game, and I'll repeat it. It's not worth the risk to put Trevor out there in this game when they can't advance any further in the playoffs. The Lions are going to go with their guys because they want home field. They win, they get home field. But if you put Trevor out there in harm's way, he won't play conservatively. He won't try to protect himself. He's going to go and play to win the game if he's dressed and out there. And last week I said, but you can't go beyond Jake Mayer as well, because you're not in tryout time. Right. And I thought when Jack Cohn came out, and listen, I think Jack might be one of the future stars in the league. He might join Nathan Rourke and Davis Alexander in Montreal and be one of the great young guns in the game as we make this transition. But this is a playoff run, not a tryout opportunity to see what you got in a guy that's third on the depth chart or whatever. And I thought the game changed there. I think if Jake Mayer stays out there, I mean, anything can happen, of course, but I think if Jake Mayer stays out there and Brett Lowther hits that 4th field goal, they win that game.
It was just an odd time. Now, again, I don't know, maybe whatever the plan is for this weekend's game with BC, in my brain, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, you want to get Cohn some playing time, play him against BC at home. Let Mayer run the table in that game in Winnipeg. And then so for the 4th quarter, it just seemed very odd. It was almost like there was something else to it that we were missing, but it doesn't look like there was. And maybe it's not that big of a deal, and I know I get it. So you got to be ready to play. Everyone's got to be ready. You got to throw them into the. Yeah, you do, but you're also putting a guy in. The weather was crap. It was kind of cold. You're putting a guy in, and if it's to test them, and you see that with businesses once in a while. Well, let's test these guys. Let's test these sales guys. Let's test it. Why? Don't overthink it. Yeah, so I don't get the timing where it was. Now there's people messaging in, Glenn. And they're saying they want Harris to play this weekend. I'm looking. Justin messaged in, Steve, Trevor, Julie. Let him play a little bit. And I'm like, no. The professor was in. Professor says you got to play him a little bit. I'd play him. I'd give him a little time. Not risking the rust thing. I feel, I don't know where you land. I'll ask you. Too much can be made. There might be a little bit of, you got to warm up a bit, but you're practicing. It's not like you're taking 2 weeks off and then it's like, hey, welcome back. The game's on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you are practicing and you're taking mental reps and you're in the meetings and you're still running the quarterback room if you're Trevor Harris. How many snaps has Trevor Harris taken in his career? If this next week to play a 1 quarter and go out there for 2 series, if he really needs that to perform well in the Western Final, then you got the wrong guy.
Yep.
And I don't think you got the wrong guy. So he's taken 1,000 reps in his career. He doesn't need 2 quarters or whatever. I mean, even if you look back at the Edmonton-Vancouver game last week, I thought with the Lions coming off the bye, they looked a little rusty in the first quarter offensively. Their timing was a little bit off. And then they got it together, and then it looked like the offense we're used to seeing. And yeah, it took 2 or 3 series to get on the right page and to get, the targeting sensor in place for Nathan Rourke. But, I would rather have 2 series that don't quite go as smoothly as you'd like in the West Final, rather than throw them out there for a quarter in a game that doesn't change anything and put them in harm's way. Plus, you're taking reps away from Jake Maier. And I honestly, as far as your second part of the question, I don't go with Jack Cohn. Jack Cohn is the 3rd stringer future guy, possibly, but he's not essential in this playoff run. We don't have to test him, to your point. We don't have to see what he looks like in a game against the Lions in the last week of the regular season. We don't have to see that. What you need to see is that Jake Maier is ready to win a game in case something happened to Trevor early in the playoff game. So I think every rep for him is crucially valuable for Jake Maier, but not Cohn. Now you're thinking preseason mode, and that's not what this is.
There's the other element to this, and I'm not a psychologist or any kind of doctor or anything, that you have to almost, I think, take into consideration that West Final in a packed Mosaic Stadium, and you haven't played in 2.5 or 3 weeks a game. You've been throwing the ball. You've been practicing. You've been taking the mental reps. There's the element of the adrenaline as an athlete in that 30,000 people on that stage that should get you right into the game right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's another, sort of, I don't know, maybe it's a great secret with professional athletes. Games like this are ultra challenging because you don't want to get hurt. And you are fighting mentally to not think that way.
Yeah.
So you're trying to train your mind to not think, treat it like any other game, go out and play with great intensity. But in the back of your mind, and it's a fight, you're thinking, don't get hurt. Because you don't want to have a bit of an ankle going into the Western Final. So you're almost subconsciously protecting yourself at times. And I think that's a recipe for disaster, and the coach can mitigate that by taking AJ Ouellette out. I see that Mario Anderson was not practicing today, so I saw 7 starters not practicing today. So good chance that none of those guys start anyway.
Yeah, there was a number of, if you're watching the stream, there it is up right there. Anderson did not participate. Fields did not participate, as Keyshawn Johnson, Dante Myers, Milligan Jr., Shane Ray Robustelli, Sales, Tommy Stevens still with the knee, and Nick Weeb. That's the other thing, is that Tommy Stevens, if he's, let's say he was close to 100, let's say he was 80, 85 right now, I would like to see him out there slinging it. Because when we talked to him back when we signed him back in the winter, he's like, I can throw the ball. He did play at some big schools. That's too bad that we don't get to see him do that. To your point, Glenn, and you watch it a lot closer than anybody, and you're there. I noticed it on the first couple special teams plays on Friday where there were guys running down making some business decisions. It was almost like watching when they used to have the Pro Bowl. It's like, whoa, whoa, get away from me here. And then there's the other guy that's going full torque, which to your point, you're going to get hurt probably.
Yeah, and you're trying to fight that.
Yeah.
You get it, you understand it, but you're trying to fight it off. And, that's why I think a decision, and I'm sure Corey Mace has already made his decision. He's just being very political about his answers to the media right now. And that's fine. But he's already made his decision. I'm sure he's already told the players because they need to try to work on this mental fight for the entire week. If you're a starter and you're playing, you have to fight through this to say, okay, I got to somehow lock down my mind to be full speed every play, no matter what, because those business decisions that you talked about, and you see them when it happens. That's when you get hurt. So you can't play this game. It's too physical of a game to play it protecting yourself. Yep. You have to go out and let it on the line.
Okay, Colson's going to throw up this playoff scenario board that we've been running all day on the show. So you see it here. And when the professor is in, and we were talking, there's a lot of things that could happen. Now, mind you, a lot of people are going to say, Calgary's going to beat Edmonton, which means BC is going to have to win. Unless Edmonton can beat Calgary, then BC can rest. But look at that top right, Glenn, the top right box. And if you're listening on the radio, I'll explain it. This is the one that I find fascinating. BC loses here. Calgary wins against Edmonton, and Winnipeg wins. BC's got the crossover.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It is wild. It is absolutely wild. What we know, and this is how I do it for my own sanity, because there's a lot of options on this feed right now and a lot of math to go through. But I look at it this way. The Lions win, they host. So we know that.
But Calgary plays Edmonton on Friday. So BC is going to know Saturday or Friday night. Like their starters can go out to Gobos and Habanos and Regina and get after it. Because if Calgary loses, they're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Calgary loses, they're in. If they win, so their number is 1, right? And the other thing is, and this is why I'm wondering about Winnipeg, because does Michael O'Shea? I heard from on social media, so it's got to be true, that Zach Collaros didn't take a lot of reps in the practice today. So does Michael O'Shea say, we're going to rest some of our guys, including Zach, because we're in the playoffs. Who cares where we go?
Yeah.
Who cares who we play?
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder about that decision with the Bombers, and Calgary can still. They have a good chance. Well, not a good chance. They have the second best chance to host, so that they should still pedal to the metal.
For sure.
The Lions definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, the Lions definitely. Yeah.
Like Calgary's playing that game on Friday to win, which would lead me to believe that we're going to see BC's best to try and win that, and which I'm fine. I'm like, more guys banged up. Show us what you got. Maybe pick out a few things. Watch some tape. And I think that's where everything points to. But again, it's football. It's crazy. Speaking of crazy, Ken West is coming down to the end here. And I don't know if you've looked at the schedule and the games that have been playing. Like Saskatchewan's leading. Regina's on their heels. Coming up this weekend, it's a weird 1:00 game. UBC comes to Regina on Friday. It's crapshootville, and then Manitoba Saskatchewan is playing Saturday in Sask. every game in this is so tight. I know you're a big fan of university football. It could be one of the best kept secrets. And then the other one is junior football in Saskatchewan, where on Sunday we have the Thunder hosting the Saskatoon Hilltops at Mosaic.
Yeah, and that rivalry, by the way, Vincent Donaldson, one of my former teammates, one of the coaches with the Rams, and I saw him in the airport in Calgary a couple of weeks ago when they were just coming off a win, and they were heading into that game against the U of S. And I don't know, Barney, if it's you that owe me the dinner or if it was Sharky or it might have been the professor. I can't remember.
I think it's me. Colson's pointing at me.
Okay, I wondered because we did have a little bit of a bet there with the Rams and the Huskies. I do a lot of I do a lot of work with the Huskies for Dogs Breakfast and stuff like that. So I'm cheering them on. I'm looking at the standings all the time. I actually try to get some of that stuff into our show. Like I will highlight guys that have come out of the U of S, come out of the U of R, especially when they're at top of their divisions and top of their, the standings. I will try to work that into a game.
I feel though that you're going to pull a Kenny Banya and I'm going to take you for this supper and you're going to order soup just so you can double back around on it and again.
Banya, the soup is the meal. That's it.
Hey, can you slide that into one of your games this weekend? And then all the Sports Cage people will know. Hey, that was Glen. That was Glen from the Sports Cage.
Yeah, the soup is the meal.
Yeah. Okay, well, we get to talk again on Thursday. And then we'll tee up everything this weekend and we'll go into it more. Enjoy the night off and we'll catch up on Thursday, Glen.
Okay. Thanks, Barney. Appreciate it.
Press coverage with Glen Suitor is brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090. Was it cold this morning? If your furnace was down, you definitely knew. Bronco Plumbing and Heating can get you hooked up, get you tuned up, or if you need a new one, they can help you out as well. We'll go to break here. Right now, Colson saying 936-6262. If you want to win $200 to Pump Jacks Cathedral, fantastic spot in Regina, 13th and Albert, where they have the best broccoli cheddar soup, their ribs. They got number of different drafts. They got Wing Wednesday coming up. $200 we're playing for today. Start calling now, 936-6262. The question will be about the Toronto Blue Jays in the ALCS. Which ALCS? Yet to be determined. Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. 936-6262. Pump Jacks Cathedral. Trivia coming up in a bit. But before we get to that, we got to mention we got more coming up on the show. We're going to hear from Jack Cohn in a bit here. Also going to hear from Logan Furland. Okay. You ready, Colson? Okay. 1 second. We're getting it teed up here. $200 to Pump Jacks Cathedral. On the line. Albert and 13th. Great. Before or after a Rider game. Trust me. We're ready to go. Here we go.
It's time for Sports Cage Trivia for Pump Jacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
Okay. Who do we got on the line here with us today playing Pump Jack Cathedral?
This is Johnny.
Johnny boy. All right, here we go. Blue Jays, big win last night. Game 7, going to the World Series. Now, the question I have, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was the MVP. The last time the Blue Jays made the World Series, 1993 American League Championship Series. Who was the MVP? Was it Roberto Alomar, Lloyd Moseby, Dave Stewart, or Kelly Gruber? 10 seconds, Johnny.
I got to go with the first one, Roberto Alomar.
Oh, Johnny, tough one.
I don't like the sound of that.
Stay on the line. Colson's going to get your information. You're still going to win a lunch to Pump Jacks Cathedral. But in 1993, it was Dave Stewart that won the MVP for the Blue Jays. 1992 was Roberto Alomar. So
got my years mixed up.
I know, Johnny. That's all right. You still got lunch on us from Pump Jacks Cathedral. Stay on the line. Colson's going to take your info. Again, Pump Jacks Cathedral, 13th and Albert here in Regina. Come early, stay late. Wing Wednesday tomorrow. 15 flavors to choose from. I'm not joking, and I'm not just saying this, and it's not even written down for me. The broccoli cheddar soup is off the charts there. And then they do have trivia night on Tuesdays, which is tonight, before and after a Rider game. Pump Jacks Cathedral, 13th and Albert. Okay, Colson, I'm going to give you a few seconds here to queue up this Jack Cohn interview because we've been teeing it up. Got into the game last week for our Riders. I was surprised. Were you? I don't know. Dave Thomas had a chance to catch up with the Rider quarterback.
Jack Cohn, you had an opportunity to get on the field in Winnipeg. Tell me about how you would assess your performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the thing that I'd say the big positive for me was that I got on the field, I got the experience, and I got to see everything. I felt like I saw everything. I don't think things were too fast for me. At the end of the day, I wish I got a few more completions, and I could have done a little bit better, but for me, it was just fun to go out there and play.
It was approximately 5 months between opportunities you had to take a live rep. Mm-hmm. How difficult or how different was that? Because it's probably something new.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult, but these past 2-3 years is something I'm kind of getting used to. You just got to be ready whenever your moment comes. And, a big thing for me is in these practices, just taking mental reps behind every play and treating that as, my practice, even if I'm not getting the live reps. So when I go in the game, I just cut it loose.
Fans probably don't get a chance to see it. Every single game day, you're out on the field before warm-up doing your own routine. Did any of that routine change last week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing the full workout anymore, but, when I was non-active these past pretty much the whole year, I would go out and try to just treat that warm-up sort of like my game, go through a workout with Josh Donnelly. He put me through a great workout and try to get better.
So Tom Brady talked about it during the Dallas Cowboys broadcast this past weekend. He said, you know what, you got a quarterback that's standing on the sidelines for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden he's got to try to go in. What is that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult. I mean, but at the end of the day, you just stand on the sideline. You try to take the mental reps, stay in the game as much as you can, go through the calls on the sideline, stay engaged, stay loose. Then when the moment comes, just go cut it loose. Don't think too much.
Little opportunity you had to keep it loose, though, was performing short yardage. Tell me about that.
Yeah, short yardage has been fun. I mean, it's something that's new for me, my first time doing it up here. But, yeah, I mean, I think it was second play of the game. Got to go in and get a touchdown for the team, which was awesome. But, it just adds a little more excitement for me getting on the field.
Uneducated fan Dave here says, all you do is you take the snap and you run forward real quick. There's much more to it than that, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely certain play calls and motions that go along with it, but at the end of the day, you just follow the O-line, and it's really them that's doing all the work, so I just got to follow those guys and find the hole.
Is there a checklist that you want to get accomplished this week heading towards the playoff individually? I know that the offense wants to make sure that you're hitting at optimum stride, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's just getting better every single day. I mean, I want this to be my best week of preparation, but that goes for any other week that I've had, previously throughout this year. So just trying to have a good week of prep and just help this team in any way I can.
I know the quarterback room does a ton of film study. Is it easier to be engaged in the film study when you're watching what you did on the film and the game film?
I don't know. I'd say yes, maybe a little bit. For me, it's just fun always watching myself play. But at the end of the day, it's cool seeing that, our guys play as well, seeing Trevor and Jake play. So it's cool just knowing what's going on and having your own opinions about it.
Okay, the one play that I have to ask, how many times have you watched that Mitch Picton catch on film that he got on top of the defender and made the catch right on that sideline in front of the bench?
Yeah, a few times, not too many. I mean, it was just an unbelievable play, and, Mitch has been making plays for years here, and it was awesome to get to play with him.
So as a quarterback in that situation, what are you trying to see, or what are you trying to throw him to? Or is there just a play that you're trying to run and he went up and you gave him a shot?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of just reading the corner. We had a go ball and an out route, and if that corner, squatted his feet at all, I was putting it over the top, and pretty much what happened, and I just put up for Mitch, and he made an unbelievable play.
It's been a lot of fun watching, Jack, and wish you the best down the stretch here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see if we see him again this weekend. We played Pump Jacks Cathedral trivia. We'll play it again next Tuesday for 250 scoots. We're getting up there. People can host a real event. $250. But right now, this is a text-in one. Sastel picked the score. 936-6262. If you want to go to the Riders-Lions game, Colson's got tickets on him right now. Pick the score for the game. If you're closest to, you got a chance to win a $200 Sastel gift card. Right now, Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. When we come back, we are going to talk about the Kenaston Super Draft, which it's having an interesting year with the postal strike. We'll get more into that next on the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage. We are the home of local sports in Saskatchewan. If you're watching the stream at sportscage.com through our YouTube channel and always on 620 CKRM. Now, one of the staples in Saskatchewan sports is got to be the Kenaston Super Draft. Since 1984, they do the playoff one, $80,000 in prize money to be won in the playoff one, and then the regular season one is $90,000 to be won. The regular season one is back this year. The Sports Cage, again, helping out, looking at the players. We're going to be walking this through over the next week. What players should we take in the regular? What players do we want to write in that aren't on their sheet? And then there's the Super 8 as well. It's all at superdraft.com. Now, the problem this year is because of the postal strike, the mighty Super Draft out of Little Kenaston, Saskatchewan is having problems because so many of their entries either go out or come back in with the mail. So we're trying to help out. We're trying to spread the word as best as we can. You do not have to mail in your entries. I found out, and I'm going to talk to him later this week, Lotto Lawrence from up in Saskatoon. He's been doing this thing. He's actually won some good haroshi, good cabbage over the years in the Kenaston Super Draft. He's going to join us later this week, but he calls in his entries, which I was like, you can call in? He's like, yeah, 306-352-2100. It's on the website, superdraft.com, and you can call in your picks with the sheet. Now, I fill it out, and I email it in to superdraft@sastel.net. So there's a number of ways to do it because the mail this year is throwing a monkey wrench into things. It's a little bit of a problem. So I thought, today let's help them out and let's talk to one of the organizers. Deanne Bleakley from the world famous Kenaston Super Draft is joining us. Deanne, first off, it's a bit of a weird year because of this postal strike and what's going on, and the Super Draft is kind of caught in the middle.
Yes, we sure are. We were unable to mail out any of our entry forms to our participants until the 14th, which was about a week later than we liked, that's for sure. Yeah,
maybe go through how many people would be still taking advantage, with the mail-outs and all that. Break it down for me as far as mail-outs and call-ins and fax. How does it all work?
Okay, so for people that actually still utilize Canada Post to mail us back their entry forms, we usually get somewhere around the 1,200 entries that way.
Wow.
We're usually at about 1,500 entries that come to us with our phone-in bank call system. Mm-hmm. And then we're somewhere around that 1,000, maybe 800 to 1,000 email. Mm-hmm. And we're about that 500 mark still with the old-fashioned faxing.
Okay, so with people that are not maybe receiving it in the mail, really, what is the best way? Is it to just call in, go online? How do we direct people?
Best way is to go to superdraft.com, which is our website. I have a link there to load and look at the players list, and then also the link to load the rules page. And then just best way, is utilize that page and then either phone us in once you have your picks figured out, or you can print that page, fill it out, scan it, and email it that way. Or, print it out, fill it out, and then fax it in. And, if you need to make multiple copies, then however you can figure out Staples or wherever you can go to get multiple copies made, or do it that way and then get them back to us. But we definitely will have people on the phones, and we'll be taking the emails, and our fax machines will be up and running.
Yeah, I do it the email way, which I find is an easy way. But then I talked to a guy yesterday who's always done the call-in, and I'm like, that is really interesting. And then when you break down the numbers, there is still a lot of people that do the call-in. How many people would you have working those phones?
We keep 14 phones running for the 12 hours, 8 to 8, that Monday the 27th and Tuesday the 28th. And yeah, we have 14 people on phones, and they just I have shifts like where different volunteers come in, so they work how many ever hours they can for me, and then a different person will come take over the phone, and we just keep rotating so that we're covered for the 12 hours each day. Right on. Coffee is probably always warm. Coffee's always warm, and we usually have a few snacks around for everybody too. So now people that maybe have thrown their entries in the mail, what's going to happen with them? Is there any way to look at them like post-dated or when they were sent in, or how does that work? Well, we do have a deadline that everything in the mail needs to be to us by November the 4th, and that's in our rules, and that's, legit from our license, lottery license number. So we definitely, have to kind of honor that. So I am suggesting to people, if mailing is their only option with the rotating strikes, you may want to look at utilizing Canada Express Post, which you just bought. You do have to pay extra at Canada Post to get that option, but at least it's a guarantee. They do guarantee a 3 to 4 business day turnaround. So if you throw it in on the 28th, then there shouldn't be any problem with us getting it by the 4th. All right, and then it's over $90,000 or $90,000 total cash to be won. So all that's the same. We got first place $20,000. The Super 8 is back. There's $10,000 there. All the goodness. And again, Deanne, just tell people where the money goes. And this thing has been going on for a long time. Sure. Yeah, we support our Kenaston Community Hall. We help out at the Kenaston skating rink, and then we also have our Kenaston swimming pool that operates in the summer here. So we help out those facilities, keep them up and running, and the maintenance done on them, kind of thing. And then usually a bulk of the money, or some of that money, also will go to a national charity. And in the last few years here, we've donated money to STARS a couple times. We've done Jim Pattison Children's Hospital, St. Paul's Foundation Hospital in Saskatoon. So we kind of try and do, a major type fundraiser that way too, for one of those other charities that are always needing some donations. This is great. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're going to be pushing it here over the next week and a bit, because the deadline is coming up October 28th, and then you said anybody that's in the mail November 4th. Now, if someone put theirs in the mail and they're kind of like, I don't know if they're going to get it, can they call and say, when you get my letter, cancel it, I want to do it over the phone? Yes, that isn't a problem, and that does sometimes happen to us, that, people change their mind and end up phoning or emailing it in. So if they put it in the mail and change their mind, they just got to let the person on the phone know that it's a duplicate entry, and to ignore the one that's coming in the mail. All right. Well, hopefully you get mine through email here soon, and hopefully this year I do a little bit better. Thanks so much for your time, Deanne. Best of luck, and looking forward to getting this thing back to normal. All right. Thank you so much, Barney.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steel Crap Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Riders made a signing today. They signed American wide receiver COC Mariner, 6'2", 190, is playing for your favorite team, the Michigan Panthers, Colson, in the UFL this past year. He did have some time with the Ottawa Red Blacks in 2022. Hockey tonight in and around the area in Moose Jaw. Red Deer's in town. WHL 7 p.m. SJHL. Larange is in Nipawin. Humboldt welcomes Kindersley. National Hockey League Canadian teams are on the ice now. Edmonton and Ottawa. Maple Leafs are in Jersey, or Jersey's in Toronto is what I'm trying to say. And Vancouver and Pittsburgh play in a bit here. National Basketball Association starts tonight. Houston Rockets, Oklahoma City, Golden State at Los Angeles Lakers. SportsCage.com poll today. What do you think Who do you think was the MVP of the ALCS for the Toronto Blue Jays? Vladdy? Springer? You can vote at sportscage.com. It is for Steelcraft Doors in Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Steelcraft Doors, Regina. SJHL, a couple games tonight. We got the SJHL report coming up on Thursdays for Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, GP Financial Services, and Aviso Wealth. If you're looking for a second opinion on your retirement plan, whether it's farming or just in and around, they can help you out. gpfinancial.ca. We have LaRange in Nipawin tonight and Kindersley at Humboldt tomorrow. We usually have our power rankings coming up on Thursday. Benny Walchuk will be with us. Also, we're going to be doing the Friday Night Lights high school football report, and it's into playoffs / provincial playdowns now. I'm going to run all of these down on Thursday, but there are some good ones, some interesting ones. I'm looking at the 9-a-side provincial quarterfinals where the favorites are Melfort and Lumsden. A lot of teams looking for upsets there, but those are two of the favorites. And then in Regina here, we got Miller against Winston Knoll on Friday, Riffle at Campbell. We're breaking it all down Thursday, Friday Night Lights for Warren Steinley. Sastel picked the score, only a few minutes left to get in on it. If you haven't won in 30 days and you want to go to the game, text in 936-6262. What's the score of the Lions Rider game on Saturday? If you're closest to you, you got a chance to win a $200 Sastel gift card. That's a busy show today. Lots to get going. Maz is in tomorrow. He's going to take you through. I'm back with Sharky on Thursday. And then Friday, after the Rams game, we'll be rolling here as well. Thanks so much for making time. Saskatchewan Lotteries, main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation, our sponsor today. Thanks to Prairieland Rentals on the Prairieland Rentals text line, their sponsor, and then Western Pizza, of course. Colson, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again on Thursday.